Today we celebrate the memorial or the feast day of St. Lawrence, deacon and martyr. What do we know about St. Lawrence? We know that he was a deacon and that he was one of Pope Sixtus II's closest collaborators in Rome. In fact, St. Lawrence has great relevance in Rome. He is the third patron saint of the city after Peter and Paul. Only in Rome, do you know how many churches are dedicated to St. Lawrence? 34 churches. He lived in the 3rd century, and there are 3 episodes from his life that I would like to comment and reflect with you. The first one is, I mentioned before, he was a close collaborator with the Pope. So when the Pope passed away, the prefect of Rome came. Remember, this was the time of persecution, and he told St. Lawrence, since you're in charge of the treasures of the church and you're so close with the Pope, I'm going to ask of you that you would give and turn over to the empire all the treasures of the church. And St. Lawrence told him, give me 3 days to collect all the treasures of the church. So after 3 days, the prefect came back to him and he said, okay, give me over all the riches. And St. Lawrence, for 3 days, he gathered all the poor people, all the homeless, all the sick people, and told the prefect of Rome, these are the treasures and the gifts of the church that I hand over to you. The prefect didn't find this funny, and he told St. Lawrence, for what you've done, you will pay, and you will pay a high cost. But the first reflection that I want to offer you is, so often saints have a different way of valuing things. And sometimes for us worldly people, our treasures are going to 5-star hotels and driving nice cars and having all sorts of comforts. But for the saints, the treasures were the homeless and the poor people. So today is a good time to reassess what is it that we truly value and hold to be a treasure in our own life. The second episode of the life of St. Lawrence worth commenting is that when Pope Sixtus II was on his way to be killed and to face martyrdom, St. Lawrence went over looking for him, and he said, dear Father, he said, every time that you came to the altar of sacrifice, your servant always walked with you, speaking about the Mass. And St. Lawrence told him, now that you go to the true altar of sacrifice, do not leave me behind. So it's truly amazing to see that St. Lawrence was so faithful to Pope Sixtus that when Pope Sixtus was facing martyrdom, a few days before Lawrence was called to face the same fate, Lawrence did not want to part from his friend and from his master. So today I think it's also worth reflecting about St. Lawrence's loyalty. And it's easy to be loyal to your friends when your friends are facing prosperous moments, but are we faithful to our friends when they face difficulties and tragedy? I watched a video of a boxer called Maravilla Martinez. He's an Argentinian boxer who was champion of the world. And he said, the day that I won the world championship, I received 1,006 calls within a span of 4 hours. He said, the day that I lost the world championship, I received 4 calls, 3 from my mother. Lawrence reminds us the importance of being a loyal friend. And loyalty proves itself best in adversity. Finally, we've all heard the anecdote of Lawrence facing his martyrdom and asking for him to be flipped so that the other side could also be cooked. And I think we've all rejoiced in this anecdote, but I think it's also a wonderful reminder that the Christian life is daily martyrdom, but that daily martyrdom should not be faced with sadness or sorrow, but with joy and good humor. So even in the midst of our difficulties and of enduring the trials of our daily martyrdom, we should embrace them and face them with the same good humor that St. Lawrence did. Do we face our trials with good humor? Are we able to rejoice in our difficulties? Let us pray that St. Lawrence would grant us these gifts to truly value, to be a treasure, what's meant to be a treasure in the eyes of God, that we would be loyal friends, that we would face and enjoy the difficulties of life, its daily martyrdom, with good humor and joy.